Psychologists are interested in the way people think and how those thinking patterns can influence their behaviours. Now for us, that study and that research can be really beneficial for us in our daily lives. So how can we better understand the psychology of high achievers and adopt their thinking patterns and therefore behaviour patterns? On this week's episode of GetPsyched, we're going to be looking just at that, and we're going to be looking at the psychology behind high achievers. Guys, welcome to another episode of GetPsyched, and like I said, this week we're going to be looking at the psychology of high achievers. Now it's probably a good idea to give us a little bit of an introduction to exactly what I mean by a high achiever. Fundamentally, a high achiever is somebody who excels at tasks, who understands the purpose of failure, understands their own limits, and isn't scared to grow. Now for many of us, high achievers fundamentally mean people that excel at everything, and for me that's not exactly accurate. What I think of when I think of a high achiever is somebody who's not scared to grow, who looks at failure as an opportunity, and who excels by basically just learning from their own limited capacity and growing that way. And like I said, we're going to look at some of the top thinking patterns and tips that we can adopt from high achievers into our own lives. Okay, thinking pattern number one is to focus on achieving and not failing. Research has shown that there is a marked difference between the way that successful people and unsuccessful people think. And one of those key thinking patterns is the way that we look at success, or the way that we go into a new challenge. Often it's the case that people that are unsuccessful are so concerned with not failing that they protect themselves so much from experiencing new opportunities and challenges that they don't grow. High achievers, however, see that opportunity of challenge as a chance to grow. Their mindset is focused on succeeding at that task and not being scared to fail. Okay, thinking pattern number two of high achievers is taking responsibility for your own learning. Now, as I've been saying already, there's a marked difference between successful people or high achievers and those that aren't successful. The first thing to realize, however, is that both groups fail. It's not the case that high achievers never fail and people that don't achieve always fail. Both groups do always fail at things. However, the true difference between the two is the way that they perceive that failure and the opportunities and learning developments that they take from those failures. Those that are high achievers see failure as an opportunity to grow, and those that are not high achievers see failure as reason to give up or quit. Fundamentally, we're talking about accountability here. And what happens is when people that aren't successful fail at something, they blame the situation themselves, and that situation becomes too hard to continue on with. Like I said, what high achievers do is that they blame themselves and they look at ways in which they can develop themselves because of that situation. Thinking pattern number three of high achievers is the fact that it's not a strain, it's an opportunity. Viewing challenges as an opportunity for growth and learning is vital in high achieving. High achievers understand that the challenge they face in front of them is actually an opportunity to get better. Okay, thinking pattern number four is the fact that skills can be improved on. One of my favourite psychologists and one of my favourite writers is a woman called Carol Dweck. And she has looked a lot at young people in schools and tried to understand the difference between a growth mindset and a fixed mindset. Now it's often the case that young people in schools, and it also goes into adulthood as well, have a fixed mindset and think that they're just naturally given a set of skills or abilities and that's what they're stuck with. Trying to adopt a growth mindset, however, is vital in high achieving. And it fundamentally means that our skills and our abilities are not fixed, that they can grow if we learn from failures. And our fifth and final thinking pattern is that persistence really does work. A running theme throughout this video and the key tips that we've been talking about high achievers is that understanding of learning from failure and learning about what real growth is. And that doesn't come right away. Persistence is something that we need to adopt in everything that we do. And for high achievers, persistence is just part of the game. They may fail at something once or they may fail twice, but if they continue to fail, they continue to see more learning opportunities. Fundamentally, they persist until they succeed. Guys, thanks so much for watching this week's episode of GetPsyched. This week we've been looking a little bit at the psychology behind high achievers, and we've been thinking a little bit about how we can adopt some of their key thinking patterns. If you've been enjoying this week's video, and if you've been enjoying the other videos that I encourage you to check out, you can have a look at the subscribe button, you can click that, and you can click the little bell next to it, and you'll get weekly reminders of when I upload every Monday. Thanks so much for tuning in, guys, and I'll catch you next week.